Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the webinar this evening. As some of you may or may not know, Hult is very interactive when it comes to getting to know our students and showing what we are about. So tonight is the first opportunity of the 2018 enrollment for us to really show you what Hult is about, whether or not this is the right school for you, and what the programs do entail. So we know it is a big decision deciding where you're going to do your masters, what kind of masters you want to do, and making those right choices is so very important. So tonight's insight will give you a great understanding as to what our programs are about. And at the end of the session, if you do have any questions at all, we can use the chat box to ask the questions, and I'll try my very best to answer them for you. Okay, so our one-year master's degree programs. What I firstly want to do is give you an introduction to Hult. As you may or may not have seen, over the past year, we have aired an insight into Hult and our global generation through our TV ad. So for those of you that have not seen it, here is the clip that was aired over the past year.
The world is changing, but most business schools are not.
This change calls for a different type of school, a different type of career.
You'll need the instincts of an entrepreneur.
You'll need vision that transcends borders. You'll need to learn from real experience.
And you can't accept the status quo.
This is why we exist.
This is why we're different.
Hult, a new kind of business school.
For the global generation.
For the global generation.
For the global generation.
Okay, so that was real students, real professors showing you a little bit about what Hult is. What else is Hult? We are a business school that is designed for today. We truly believe that business studies it's beyond boundaries. It's about taking the youth and making them into the leaders of tomorrow. We truly believe that practical learning is the way to understand business and understand what is going to be required of you when you go into business. And at Hult, we have no limits. We believe in innovation, we believe in creativity, and we believe in, as the video says, something more than the status quo. So why Hult? What are the characteristics of Hult that will speak to you as a student? What are the factors that are crucial in that decision making as to when you want to study a master's program? With Hult, the first major part of the program is the global campus rotation. And what does that mean? That means 3 cities, 1 year. You seamlessly can move from city to city over the course of the 1 year. We have campuses in Dubai, San Francisco, Boston, London, Shanghai, and New York. And within that 1 year, you are able to move across 3 of these campuses. Career transformation. We have a dedicated career development team who are working day in, day out to help support our students in their career search. We know that that is the end goal. You are doing your master's for a reason. And for us in the program and at the school, we want to ensure that you have the access to top career development advisors who are able to help you understand what your career path looks like. Rankings and reputation. We know that you want credibility when it comes to where you study. And a little bit later on, I'll be going through some of our latest rankings and the reputation that we have built over our history. Real world practice. So getting involved in real world situations. We truly believe in learning by doing. The practical curriculum allows you to really understand business in a relevant field. Return on investment. We have last year, the graduates of 2017, they 87% were in full-time employment within 3 months of graduation. And if any of you are doing your searches into schools at the moment, I'm pretty certain that you'll see that that is a fantastic statistic for recent graduates. Not only that, but the return on investment, we have our average starting salary at $55,500 for our recent graduates. Business savvy faculty. We believe that the professors that we have need to bring real life experience to our students. We have faculty from over 45 different countries, and they range from CEOs to entrepreneurs to PhDs. Unparalleled diversity. If Hult is anything, it is diverse. For the 2016 intake, we had over 150 different nationalities across our campuses. Within the classroom, you could be studying with over 40, 50 nationalities, which really does develop your understanding of not just different nationalities, but cultures, diversities, and mindsets. And finally, lifelong learning. We know that education is not just for the now. As the world changes, as business changes, you're going to need to stay really relevant to what that world looks like. And our impact on that is through our lifelong learning. We invite you back every year to study a free elective course to ensure that you are remaining relevant throughout your career. So as I mentioned, the multicultural and dynamic community is one of our most important factors. We are an international business school. We do have campuses in international cities around the world, but we also have a very diverse student body. What that looks like as a glimpse, over 90% plus international diversity. We have in any one classroom no more than 12% of the student body from one nationality. We believe that that diversity challenges people in their mindsets, in their creativity, and in their diversity. On average, the year's working experience is 1. Now, how that changes depending on the program. We have the Master of International Business. For that program, the average year's working experience is 1. For our more specialized masters, we do see more senior students coming into those programs, but as an average, 1 year is the average working experience. And for the age, so 24 years of age is the average age in our master's students. Again, that is an average. We have students who come straight from undergrad. We do have some students who have taken a break, gotten some work experience, and then maybe have started their masters later in their life. As well as the 150 nationalities which I discussed, we all have over 100 spoken languages also. That diversity, that challenging when it comes to the different languages spoken, it gives you an amazing opportunity to maybe try out a language that you don't yet know. On average, our students have three languages within their portfolio. So global rotation, like I said, this is usually the one factor that really does speak to students. Students who are interested in Hult are interested in the world. They are interested in traveling. They are interested in understanding different cultures, different nationalities, different perspectives. And this is where the global rotation will really immerse you in those cultures. It's not just about sitting in a classroom with diverse students, but it's about sitting in some of the most diverse and the most prominent cities in the world. How that looks in terms of time frame, just as you can see on the slide, we have what we call your home campus. What that home campus means is that is your hub for the first 8 months of the program. And as you can see at the bottom, that runs from modules A to C. The 4 campuses that we have that you can start with, depending on which program you go for, you can start in San Francisco, Dubai, London, and Boston. Then what we have that layers on top of that home campus is what we call your rotation centres. So in Module D, which runs from May till June, you will be able to go on your first rotation. So that's a 6-week program, a 6-week time frame, sorry, where you will be able to change your location if you wish. Then in the last rotation, Module E, you have the opportunity to rotate again. Now, Hult is flexible. We want to ensure that the program fits you and your needs and your career goals. So you have the opportunity, if you wish, to study in 3 campuses. However, that is not compulsory. You do have the opportunity to study in 2, meaning that you spend your first 8 months in the home campus. You then spend the second part of the program, so modules D and E, in 1 campus. And then finally, if you are happy in the campus that you are in, if you feel that this is where you are going to get the most value, then you are more than welcome to stay in that 1 campus for the 1 year. Now, as it says in the title, the 3 cities, 1 year is intense. Not just that change in living, that change in culture, that managing of timeframes for work and for getting to know these different cultures. So if you're ready for the intense year, the 3 cities is ideal. So I just want to give you a little bit more of an insight to our campuses. We've picked locations around the world that we believe are adding value to your career. We want you to be able to step outside of the campus into the corporate hub, into the international diverse population. So here is a short video just to give you an insight into our campuses.
My name is Sasha. I'm a student at Hult International Business School. The main reason why I chose Hult is because of their global rotation program. You can study in London, Shanghai, Dubai, Boston, or San Francisco. It's great to study in London because it gives you the direct contact to most of the Fortune 500 companies. The professors give me a perfect picture of how the real business world works. And that means everything to me because I want to be a successful management consultant. I'm Doug, a Hope MBA student studying in Dubai. 80% of the population here is international. I'm learning how business works in the Middle East, both in and out of the classroom. Relationships are central, more so than Western cultures. I want to do NGO work all over the world, and so it's so crucial for me to have this type of platform. London is great because there was a lot of fun stuff that we could explore in different cultures, and it's been an eye-opening experience for me. I expect my rotation to Shanghai will be just as life-changing. I've had such a good life here in Dubai. I've done so many things like I've never done anywhere else. But I know my next rotation to Boston is going to be amazing. Shanghai never stops. To see things I've never seen before, like crazy markets and fantastic restaurants, having a great time within the highest bar in the world, all while learning the ins and outs of business in Asia. In the Action Project, we deal with the real problem of a company here in Shanghai. It's the perfect way for me to get introduced to the real business world. I'm excited for this rotation in Boston, the world capital of higher education. I like the sports here and meeting people from all over the world. My Action Project has taught me valuable business lessons that I can take with me in my future. I'm looking for a job in Boston, so I'm going to leverage career services who have a ton of local expertise. I've been around the globe, gathering relevant experience for my CV, learning business skills, building my personal brand, and meeting executives, all while working alongside the most well-traveled students on earth. I can honestly say that I've had the most international and transformational experience of my life.
Okay, so that is the campuses. Here now are the programs. So we have 4 main 1-year full-time programs. That includes the Master of International Business, the Master of International Marketing, the Master in Finance, and the Master in Business Analytics. And the Master in Disruptive Innovation, which I will discuss a little bit later, is an add-on program that is part of the dual degree that we offer. So how will your curriculum look? What we've done in this slide is we've broken it down to be hopefully very easy to see how your year at Hult would pan out. The first section that I would like to discuss is the immersion. So this is the program starting in September. What you will do is you will meet with your peers and set your foundation for the year. Immersion is all about teamwork. There are simulations. It's about working under pressure, prioritizing, and really setting yourself up for the next year ahead. That takes you on to Module A. Now that'll run from October till December. You then have Module B taking you from January to March, and Module C taking you from March till April. Over modules A to C, as you'll see, there are 3 core fundamental sections to that program. This is where you will study in your home campus. What you will do is you will complete your core courses. What your core courses are the fundamental concepts of business theory. They include international marketing, financial accounting, global strategy, economics, all of the fundamentals that we believe are important to have an understanding and an awareness of when going into business. We then layer on top of that with the practical application. As we discussed earlier, Hult is about the practical implementation. We believe that it top trumps theory. We believe that it really challenges the way in which our students think, how they react, and how they adapt. There are certain aspects when it comes to the practical application. The first being the Hult Business Challenge. I will discuss the Hult Business Challenge in more detail later on, but what that is a 3-month project where you will intensely work within a group in order to either solve a corporate issue or to start up a business. Finally, and for some of you, the most important factor, the leadership development. So this is how we can coach and develop you to be the leader that you want to be. There are so many factors that come into leadership, and we believe in the structured team feedback from the peers that you're working with to show how strong a leader you are. Feedback is such an important part of your development, understanding how to critique yourself and also how to take the critique from others around you. And within that, you will have the intensive coaching from your professors and from your mentors that will help you develop your skill set, develop your leadership skills. Then moving on to modules D and E. Now this is, I say, when the true fun starts. You have 3 main factors that come into modules D and E, which run from May until August. The first being the global campus rotation. As we discussed earlier on, you can decide how you want your rotation to look. Now that shows you can study in 2 or more campuses. So we have within there Dubai, Shanghai, London, San Francisco, New York, and Boston. You have the opportunity to rotate throughout these campuses. Layered on top of that is something brand new for 2018 that we are very excited to introduce to you. As everybody knows, disruptive technology is shaping the future of business. And we want our students to be relevant in the fields that they are wanting to have their careers in. So I'll discuss in a little bit more detail exactly what those disruptive technologies are and how they will add on to your program. And finally, your electives. So we actually have 6 specializations that you can tailor into your program. That includes project management, family business, entrepreneurship, finance, marketing, and business analytics. What that means is if you want to specialize your program in one of those 6 fields, you would need to take all of your electives within that one field. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do that. Again, the flexibility is there. If you would rather take electives from many different areas, maybe one in marketing, one in finance, one in entrepreneurship, then you are able to do that. Only if you want to have your program specialized would you need to take all of your electives in that one field. And finally, something that is continuous throughout the program is your career development, so your coaching and expert advice, and also your employable skills. So how do you need to develop yourself to have the skills to land the dream job that you're aiming for? So the main part of the practical application, the Hult Business Challenge. What we do firstly, when you start in November, you will decide in November what track you want to take. Now, what that means, what are those tracks? The first track is the corporate track. What will happen is a company will come in, and as you'll see down the right-hand side of the screen, these are some of the companies that we have worked with over the years across all of our campuses. They will approach the campus, they'll approach the students with a current issue that they are facing at the moment. You will then, throughout your time doing your business challenge, will consult the companies in the solutions that you feel that are going to work for that issue. However, if you don't feel that the corporate track is where you're wanting to go, if you are a budding entrepreneur, if you feel that you want to understand how startups work, then you can choose the entrepreneurial track. What this means is that from the very ground up, from the research and development stages, you will build a company. That's how you will pick your track. You will then form your team. Now at Hult, we are advocates for you deciding the people that you're going to work with. That is how, as leaders, you will develop your teams. When you are recruiting people to work for you, you need to understand the collaboration within a team. So you will form the team yourself. You will then develop your strategy. Now, this is where the global mindsets, the diversity in the mindsets that you will have within your team will really play a part. You will have to understand how other people are working, what their ideas are, and how you can collaborate together. You then test your concept. So how is this working? This is your first midpoint where you will present what you are currently going through for your concept. You then have the feedback. As I said, feedback is such a huge part of the culture at Hult. So we get you to have that feedback, adapt, test, and adapt again, because this adaptation will mold your idea, will mold your concepts into your final presentation. Now, how that works is you within your team, whether it is the corporate track, you will present to the corporate that you are working with. They will give you feedback from their panelist. If you have chosen the entrepreneurial track, who you will be presenting to is to your professors and to your mentors. They will then give you the feedback as to how relevant and how likely your concept is to work. As I mentioned earlier, the employable skills are so important when it comes to gaining a job at the end of your program. Now, what we've introduced for 2018 is a lot of research into what it is that companies are looking for from their employees. As you'll see at the bottom, we have some sample jobs as to the skills that we've mapped. So what that includes, 2 main functions, the core skills and the technical skills. What the core skills incorporates is your team collaboration, your critical thinking, your planning, and your negotiation. So how are you able to adapt? How are you able to think outside of the box, to innovate, to collaborate? The other side is the technical skills. So this is the precise knowledge of a certain software or program. As you'll see, Google Analytics, Salesforce, and Tableau are all huge programs that all of the big corporates and all smaller startup businesses are starting to use in order to understand their business better. So there are some sample job functions at the bottom, which we have mapped. What this means is that when you do come into the program, you will assess the job that you are wanting to go for and these core and technical skills that you will need to have in order to successfully gain the job that you're looking for. On top of this, as I mentioned earlier, the nano courses in disruptive technologies. As we know, technology is shaping the business's landscape. It is really developing the way in which we work. And we believe that students need to have these key skills in the disruptive technologies in order to stay relevant in the fields that they're wanting to work. So there are some samples at the bottom that we are now incorporating into nano courses. What the nano course means is that they're shorter than a full elective. You can take 3 nano courses, which will build up 1 full elective. Okay, so you have options such as robotics, drones, blockchain, you have solar power and energy, you have 3D printing. So all factors that are now absolutely critical to have if you're wanting to move forward in business. Something else that we believe diversifies us from other business schools out there. We know that when making your decision as to what masters to do, there is sometimes a huge way up of, do I go into a general business management program or do I stay in a specialized field? What we wanted to do is we wanted to give you both. So what that means is that you will study your first year in the Master of International Business. So that is your core business knowledge. That is your marketing, your finance, your operations, your strategy, your economics. That will be your 1 full year. You then, in 6 months following your first year, you will go deeply into specialized masters. Now, we have masters in international marketing, finance, business analytics, and as I said, the disruptive innovation. So these really elevate your expertise. It is a very concise program. It is very intense, and you would study that in either our Boston or our San Francisco campuses. It really gives you an opportunity to understand business on a wider scale, but then specialize yourself in a field that you feel that you're wanting to enter into. So who gets you there? Who are the people that are instilling this knowledge into you? And as I said earlier, our faculty are living and breathing what they are teaching. They work in the fields that they teach. So we have CEOs, we have entrepreneurs, we have consultants, and a few examples here. So Carrie, a professor of women's leadership, corporate diplomacy and negotiations. She actually was a former senior official in the US Department of State and Business. So she really has a detailed experience in that field. Olaf Groth, PhD, our professor of strategy, innovation, and economics. He is actually a former entrepreneur, so anybody looking to start up a business who is interested in, going on their own and seeing how businesses do start, he is the perfect professor to be connecting with. We then also have Victoria, PhD, Professor of Finance. She actually was the Chief of Staff and advisor to the National Bank of Hungary. So anybody interested in that aspect is ideal to connect with her. And finally, as you'll have seen from our video, our famous Hap Klopp. So he is our Professor of Entrepreneurship and Global Product Development. And as some of you may or may not know, he is actually the founder of the North Face. So as you can see, a diverse professor body. We have people from all over the world, from many different nationalities, many different industries, with real life experience to teach you. So how did careers pan out at the end of the year? As we know, this is the main focus for doing your masters, is to really get into that dream career of yours. As I mentioned earlier, 87% of our master's graduates were employed within 3 months. And of that student body, 99% changed either country, industry, or function. The diversity, the challenging yourself, getting out of your comfort zone really does allow our students to have that confidence to make a change. And that is why nearly all of the student body will make one of the changes in one of those factors. Also, something else that is key to obviously a lot of our students, due to the fact that they are going to be international graduates, is that 60% of our international graduates at the US campuses gained employment in the US post their masters. We have a really dedicated and knowledgeable career team who understand how that works. How do visas work? How do those sponsorships work? Because we know it is difficult getting into an international market. However, we believe, as you'll see in the statistics, that our teams are very successful in achieving that. Also, as I mentioned, $55,500 is the average master's graduate starting salary. However, just to let you know, our graduates of 2017, so the class of 2016, the top 10 in that class, their average starting salary was $125,000. So really the potential for high earnings is there for those students who really do everything in their power to get their dream job. Something else to let you know is, for those entrepreneurial people out there, 10% of our graduates at Hult actually do go on to start their own business. We have a lot of students who actually believe that corporate is the way that they want to go, but actually after getting to know themselves, getting to understand in more detail how entrepreneurship works, they actually go on to start their own business. So just as a clip, where are our students going? What are the companies that they're going into? So the top employers last year were KPMG, PwC, Amazon, L'Oreal, Microsoft, Google, and Deloitte. So I'm sure you will agree, these are extremely big companies out in the field, and the industries that our students go into: banking and finance, technology, consultancy, consumer products, and health and pharmaceuticals. So real companies in your classroom, getting into those big companies is not by chance. It is down to our employee relations. So we have corporate connections that allow ourselves to really build a strong network with some of the big players out there. We have a lot of guest speaker series. What that means is that we actually invite people like Carolyn McCall, like Brock Pierce, into Hult to give a guest speaker series. We had a day of disruption last year at Hult, where from morning to night across all of our global campuses, we aired some of the huge influential leaders out there giving a discussion on disruptive innovation. For us, we want to really inspire the students that come to Hult, and we believe that bringing in these influential people in the industry really does help with that. Lifelong learning, like I mentioned, is so crucial to your success in the longer run. We want our students to be the most successful, the most relevant employees in the market, and we do that through our lifelong learning. As I mentioned, what that means is that you have the opportunity every year, if you wish, to come back and study one free elective course in those summer months. You will be mixed with all of the students studying, current and alumni. So it really does mean not just the education, but also the networking opportunities are fantastic. We have a community of over 19,000 alumni, and we also have executive education through Ashridge. So that is us. What do we look for from our students? Although students come from all corners of the world, we believe that they have the same DNA. And what is that DNA? It is an interest in the world. They really believe that getting to know what is out there, getting to understand these different countries, different nationalities, is what will help develop them. They have an open mind. That much diversity calls for somebody who is open to learning from others, is open to understanding different people, is open to feedback. So the open mind is very critical. A bold spirit. I've seen some fantastic transformations over the year that I've been at Hult, from students that have started to finish the program. They really do have a entrepreneurial and a business bold spirit that we really look for in our students. They have a creative intellect. They want to think outside of the box. They don't want to stick within the boundaries. And they have a resourceful attitude. Nothing is impossible, is what most of our students say. The way in which you get to that impossible, that is where the creative intellect comes in. So just to run over a brief on the costs and fees for the program, that's a huge factor when it comes to you studying abroad. Moving abroad, studying abroad is going to mean a large investment. However, we really do believe in the return on investment, as you've seen from the salaries, from the career opportunities. So just to quickly run you through, as you'll see, there is a change in costing depending on the home campus that you choose. So what we do is we actually put the currency in the local, into the local currency. As you'll see, there is a slight difference between San Francisco and Boston, and that is solely down to the costs in San Francisco being a lot higher than that in Boston. So there are housing, living expenses. We give you an average so that you can really factor that in for the year when you're discussing with your sponsors and how that works. Now, within there, we do offer some financial support. We have two types of financial support. The first is what we call merit-based scholarship. Now that ranges dependent on your academic background, depending on the scholarship essay that you submit. We then also have financial aid. So that's a needs-based financial support. Although we don't give an actual exact amount as to what that would look like, to give you a range, our financial support is a combination of both merit-based scholarship and needs-based financial aid, ranges from $4,000 to $10,000. Okay, so after listening to our program, what we're about, what our culture is, if you feel that this is something that you are interested in, we are very supportive in that process. We know it is difficult making that decision. We know that it can be a long process, so we help you right the way throughout the process. Starting with the application. So all of our applications are online, and you'll see there that you have to log on to hult.edu/apply. Within there, you will need to provide details, profile details that includes academic and professional backgrounds, and your application fee. Once that is received, you will then be required to submit documentation. Now, we are very supportive in the documentation that is needed. That includes your current resume, your CV, your personal statement, 2 academic or professional references, and your bachelor degree and transcripts. Following that documentation, you will then have to complete an admissions interview. What that will be a phone, Skype, or in-person assessment interview with one of the directors. You will then receive your admissions decision. Following that, you will complete any missing tests that are needed for the process. So, are you ready to make your mark? Start your application today, hult.edu/apply. I'll also be putting my email address into the chat box so that if you do want to ask any questions prior to submitting your application or starting your application, then we're here to help. You'll also see just down the side, the right hand side, there are our social interaction links. So we have our Instagram, we have our LinkedIn, we have YouTube, we have our Instagram. So moving on to our students. What happens to our students once they graduate? How do they feel about their Hult journey? Here are two recent graduates of 2017. Eric from Germany was quoted to say, all these people from different cultures bring entrepreneurial drive and different experiences with them. He's learning from his professors, but also from his peer and friends. Nyla from the UK, she believes that the courses, simulations and coaching have brought out a leader in her that she didn't know existed. It has been a fundamental shift in her mindset. She's open to growth, challenges and even failures. Moving on to Rosa. So class of 2017, and as you can see, multilingual. She has been challenged in ways that she never imagined. The challenges aren't just in the classroom, they're hands-on experiences with real companies during the business challenges, hackathons, and so much more. Vishnu from India, he graduated this year also. He believes that San Francisco and Hult share many of the same values. They cherish international diversity, encourage bold, innovative thinking. He's boosted his productivity, his time management skills, and he feels prepared to launch his global career. But what happens after graduation? What happens in that time from graduating to getting into your career? Well, Jamal from America, he actually did his master's in international business in 2015. Jamal wanted to jumpstart his career in a master's, and now he is a senior consultant in Booz Allen Hamilton. Samir, Indian student who was the Master of International Business class of 2015. His aim when he started was that he needed to convince his parents that studying abroad was the right choice. He worked hard, he was determined, and it paid off. After Hult, he actually secured a job at Deloitte in the US and is now a quality assurance consultant. We then have Ibrahim. So Ibrahim from the UK, class of Master of Finance 2014. He knew that a competitive job in finance is where he was meant to start. He had an absolute focus when it came to what he wanted to get out of Hult. And again, it paid off. He is now an investment banking analyst at Goldman Sachs. And Christine, so one of our absolute success stories, you may or may not have seen her. She is actually one of our Forbes 30 under 30. She is the founder and CEO of Vendetti and was the international business class of 2014. She was inspired actually by her family business on the streets of New York. She built up on an innovative idea here at Hult, and she now works with partners like IBM and Microsoft, building global platforms that empower the success of street vendors in Haiti and Brazil. And finally, Arjita, so our co-founder of the School of Games. She was actually a Master of Social Entrepreneurship back in 2015. She wanted to educate millions of underprivileged people. She had a passion for social entrepreneurship. She had a passion for giving back. And after Hult, she's making her dream come true by owning her own company and being able to inspire the people that she is working with. So Hult, we believe that we're your partner in that transformative journey that you're wanting to go through. And as I mentioned earlier, we know that rankings and accreditation really do add value to that program. And as you'll see, we're duly accredited in the UK and the US. We are QAA quality assured. We are also recently AACSB accredited, which has brought huge value to our programs. And in terms of rankings in The Economist, something that we've just gained, which has absolutely skyrocketed our masses in management, is our 13th ranking for our international business program. We also, as a school, were ranked at first for student diversity, first for geographic diversity, and first for overseas study program. So I'm sure you will agree that when it comes to that accreditation and that ranking, that Hult is really making its mark. So that is it. Thank you for taking your time out to join the webinar this evening. If you do have any questions, then as I said, please do ask in the chat section at the side.